I haven't laughed in a while because congratulations, Yankees. Nice all-in push because you're now 3-0 in the freaking World Series. Safe to say, Yankees are cooked. But off with all that, this isn't a baseball talk show. This is a football talk show. Let's get straight to football, man. Come on. Anyways, welcome back to another Grizzly Talks football episode. We got Week 8 NFL reactions today. In all seriousness, breaking news that Deontay Johnson is getting traded to the Ravens. You can't get over that Chiefs loss, can you? Or the loss to the Browns. No. But anyways, if you are new to this series, I will leave a link to the entire playlist in the description so that you guys can watch every single video so you're all caught up, and you also have it for future videos whenever I post them. Also, be sure to hit the red subscribe button, hit the bell so you don't miss a single video. Make sure you smash that like button. And without further ado, let's get to the games. And before I start, I had a pretty solid week, going 10-6. That's crazy. With all these upsets, I did not expect to win at least double digits, so I will definitely take that. But anyways, kicking things off, we got the Thursday Night Football matchup where the Vikings lost to the Rams 30-20. Wow. Here's what I've just learned. When you have Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp healthy, you're winning games. And now that they're healthy, they've suddenly become playoff contenders again. Maybe. But as far as how this game went for the Vikings, Sam Darnold actually did pretty decently. I mean, he didn't turn the ball over. He had 18-25, almost perfect, 240 yards and 2 touchdowns on the day. The only problem with this game was the rushing offense. It was just gross. Like, Aaron Jones only had 3 yards to carry in this game. As far as receiving goes, Justin Jefferson led that, no surprise there. 8 catches for 115 yards, and the touchdowns went to Josh Oliver and Trent Sherfield. That was random. Safe to say on defense, they didn't get to the quarterback a single time, but Byron Murphy did get an interception, and that was basically the only thing that happened for the defense of the Vikings. As for the Rams, Matt Stafford had 280 yards, 25-34 for 4 touchdowns and a pick. Not terrible. Carver Williams had 97 rushing yards this game. You know, Puka Nacua led the receiving with 106 yards and 7 catches in his return. Welcome back, Puka. We missed you. Cooper Kupp got a touchdown, while Demarcus Robinson had a breakout game with 2 touchdown catches, and Carver Williams also added a receiving touchdown to his arsenal. 3 sacks for the Rams defense. Jared Verse had a solid game, and so did Byron Young, which that was actually a very controversial one now that I look at it. That probably should have been a face mask for safety, but they didn't call it. I mean, the Vikings got screwed, but they might not have been able to drive down the field. I'm just being honest. Once again, I am wrong on a Thursday night game. Congratulations, Rams. You needed that win to get yourself back into playoff contention. But please don't let this be the end of the Vikings' great run. Kicking off the Sunday 1 o'clock slate, we had the Packers edging out the Jags on a game-winning field goal by Brandon McManus, second week in a row, 30-27. I gotta be honest, this was shockingly a good game. I expected this to not even be close, but Jags were in a field of their own, even though they lost the game. Obviously, Jordan Love got hurt in this game, and he threw 200 yards, 14-22 and a pick, where Malik Willis had to step in, and he actually threw a touchdown this game. Josh Jacobs, no surprise here, absolutely went off, and he had 127 yards, 5 yards to carry, and 2 rushing touchdowns on the day. My man Tucker Kraft, the man that I picked up in free agency like last week, he already got himself 2 touchdowns in back-to-back weeks. A touchdown back-to-back weeks, but you know what I mean. 3 catches, 78 yards, and a score for him, with Romeo Doubs even having 3 catches on the day for 72. As for how the defense played, they only got to Trevor Lawrence 1 time with Edgerrin Cooper, and Xavier McKinney is back on the interception streak. That's crazy. I'm just kidding. That's not crazy. That is so expected. For the Jags, Trevor Lawrence had a very solid day. 300 yards, 21-32 for 2 touchdowns and a pick, and he also added a rushing touchdown to that as well. Obviously, Tank had a solid game rushing-wise, 78 yards, 4 yards to carry. Not terrible. And of course, Brian Thomas continues to be great with a receiving touchdown, 3 catches for 60 yards, and the other touchdown went to Evan Engram. I haven't heard that in a while. Jags defense only got 1 sack, courtesy of Trevon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen, and the only interception of the game was by Jarrian Jones. Interesting. Jags put up a good fight, but again, Brandon McManus saved the game with a game-winning field goal at the end, and I got this game correct. Barely. Up next, we have the Arizona Cardinals edging out the Dolphins in yet another game-winning field goal, 28-27. Well, Tua's back, and the Dolphins defense had to ruin the game for him. Kyler Murray had a stellar game with this one, 26-36, 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, with another touchdown by James Conner. Other than that, the rushing game was atrocious. And check this out, Trey McBride, 9 catches, 124 yards. It was National Tight Ends Day, I could tell. Marvin Harrison had 6 catches, 111 yards in the score, and the other touchdown went to Michael Wilson. Obviously, the defense didn't really perform that much, except get 1 sack from Dante Stills, but Cardinals survived nonetheless. Tua is officially back. He got 28-38, 234 passing yards in a score, and guess what? He remembers how to slide. Great for him. Devon Achane had 97 rushing yards on 10 carries, but Raheem Mostert had 2 touchdowns on the day. On the receiving, Tyreek Hill had 6 catches for 72 yards. Welcome back, Tyreek. And Devon Achane had a receiving touchdown this game. Even though the defense didn't really get any sacks or picks, they did stop the run for quite a lot of the game. They just could not stop the pass. And Miami have one of the best pass defenses in the league, but they still allowed 300 yards from Kyler Murray himself. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Arizona is actually first place in the NFC South despite a 4-4 record. Absolutely crazy division. I swear I did an NFL division prediction and I'm going to be way off. Up next, we have the Jets losing to the Patriots 25-22. What the hell happened? And Jets, congratulations. You just lost to the worst roster in the NFL and you guys suck. You stuck with Rodgers and this is what happened. Aaron Rodgers didn't have a terrible game passing the ball, but yeah, Jets are just terrible. 17-28, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, with Breece Hall getting 80 rushing yards and Braylon Allen having a rushing touchdown. Obviously, Garrett Wilson led the team in receiving with 5 catches, 113 yards, and I was incorrect about Devontae having his first touchdown as a New York Jet. The touchdowns went to Tyler Conklin and Xavier Gibson. 2 sacks for the Jets defense, with Quentin Williams having 1.5 sacks, but they just could not stop the Patriots whatsoever. The efficiency of the Patriots was just all over the Jets. Sure, they didn't throw any touchdowns, and Drake May got a concussion in this game, but they did what they had to do to win. That's really all that matters. And Drake May even have a rushing touchdown. Ramondre Stevenson had 2 rushing touchdowns because other than those 3 touchdowns, the rushing game was absolutely mid. And also receiving the best players in that category was Kayshon Boutte and Hunter Henry, combining for 8 catches and 90 yards. No interceptions forced, but Christian Ellis got a sack in this game. That was pretty much it. Not a single turnover in this game. The Patriots just outplayed the Jets the entire game. Like I said before, the Jets are just continuing to be the Jets. Up next, we have the Ravens getting upset by Jameis Winston and the Cleveland Browns, 29-24. So Deshaun Watson was the problem. Yeah, Baltimore, you lost to the Raiders and the Browns. What's your excuse? Lamar didn't have a terrible game. He had 300 yards almost, 23-38 and 2 touchdowns. Derrick Henry got himself a touchdown. This was one of the worst rushing games they've had in a long time. Zay Flowers back to the top of the receiving corps with 7 catches, 115 yards, and the touchdowns went to Nelson Aguilar and Mark Andrews. Nice. 2 sacks in this game, including 1 from Kyle Hamilton, but man, this was just not the Ravens' day at all on defense. But good lord, Jameis Winston absolutely dominated this game. 334 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 27-41. Where did this come from? And yeah, the rushing game was horrible. Nick Chubb only had 50 yards. Cedric Tillman, of course, led the receiving with 7 catches, 99 yards, and 2 touchdowns, with the other touchdown, of course, going to David Njoku. Despite there not being any sacks, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, he did get hurt in the game. I remember there were 3 sacks in this game. and none of them were by Myles Garrett. He might have gotten hurt. Who knows? Oh, wait, no, he didn't. He just did not get involved in this game at all. Let everybody else on the defense get some shine. Yeah, Jimmy Haslam, you are a very big idiot for making Kevin Stefanski say that Sean Watson is the starting quarterback. Like, you look like a damn fool. Because Jameis Winston is looking like the damn answer at Cleveland right now. Up next, we got the Eagles crushing the Bengals 37-17. Well, I was definitely wrong about this game, 100% wrong. Jalen Hurts had one passing touchdown, almost 250 yards on 16 of 20, and he added 3 rushing touchdowns in this game. About damn time. Oh yeah, and the yardage on the ground was gained by Saquon Barkley, who almost had 5 yards a carry. Damn. Receiving in this game was led by Devontae Smith, who had 6 catches for 85 yards in the score, but A.J. Brown also had 5 catches for 84 yards. Barely anything happened on defense. Well, there was like 1 sack, and there was also an interception by C.J. Gardner-Johnson, but that was pretty much it. Oh yeah, and shout out to Jake Elliott, who are making 3 field goals and getting 13 points on the game. But yeah, the Eagles defense was just able to stop the run and make Joe Burrow pass a ton because he had 234 yards, 26 of 37, a touchdown and a pick for Burrow. Rushing game was abysmal, except for Chase Brown's touchdown. Receiving was led by Mike Gesicki, who had 7 catches for 73 yards. Really? And Jamar Chase had the only touchdown in the game, proving that you need Jamar Chase and T. Higgins to win a game if you're Cincinnati. Because those two benefit each other. And there was just nothing going on for the Bengals defense except maybe Cam Taylor-Britt and Sam Hubbard, but that's pretty much it. Like, they couldn't stop the run at all if their lives depended on it. Good stuff, Philly. After a 2-2 start, you've won 3 straight. Great job. Bengals, this isn't the end of the world. You guys have a lot of winnable games left, so don't put your heads down. Keep them up. Up next, we have the Indianapolis Colts losing to the Houston Texans 23-20. Indianapolis, I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so that ER5 was not quite your answer at quarterback. I mean, his stats were abysmal. 175 yards, 10 of 32, a touchdown and a pick. Jonathan Taylor had 100 yards in a score. He was your saving grace on offense. It's a damn good thing that Joe Flacco's going to be playing next week. Josh Downs led the receiving, no surprise here. 4 catches, 109 yards, and the only touchdown of the game for Indianapolis through the air. 2 sacks in this game for Indy, but it was just, they just could not stop. Yep, they just could not stop Houston at all. Zaire Franklin, Julian Blattman, E.J. Speed, Nick Ross, usual suspects here on this defense. They had some solid games, but nice that the Forrest Buckner's finally getting sacks. C.J. Stroud had a much better passing game this week with 285 yards, 25-37, only 1 touchdown though, which is weird. Joe Mixon had 100 yards and a score as well. And also Stephon Diggs got hurt in this game, and I just found out he is out for the season. That is a big blow for Houston. 5 catches for 81 yards for him, and the only touchdown went to, who else? Tank Dell. 5 sacks in this game for Houston's defense and a pick by Jalen Peter, including 2 from Danielle Hunter, 1 from Will Anderson. Man, Houston is still here. Yeah, Indy, you're better off just starting Joe Flacco the rest of the year because Anthony Richardson needs a lot more time than you think to develop. Up next, we had the Lions drop the 50-burger on the Titans 52-14. Yeah, this game was just over by halftime. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Mason Rudolph, once again disappointing, and he even turned into Will Levis for a game. 22-38, 266 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks this game. Ugh. And he had a rushing touchdown as well, but who the hell cares? Tony Pollard had 94 rushing yards to add to that. Calvin Ridley led the team in receiving with 10 catches and 143 yards. That's pretty good, but the only touchdown went to Nick Westbrook-Akine, but the offense just could not do anything. Other than the fact that the Titans defense got 4 sacks, including 2 from Arden Key, this defense was just abysmal. Let me tell you, Jared Goff didn't even have to lift a finger in this game. He only had to throw 85 yards and 3 touchdowns to win this game. That's all he had to do. Because Jahmyr Gibbs, 127 yards rushing, 11 yards a carry, and he got a touchdown, along with David Montgomery's rushing touchdown. And 4 different targets got touchdowns this week, with Sam Laporta getting 1 for 6 catches for 48 yards. Khalif Raymond had a receiving touchdown and a punt return for a touchdown. Let's not forget that. Brock Wright had a touchdown, and Amon St. Brown, 2 catches, 7 yards, but he also had a touchdown. This is just weird. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, the score may not look different, but this game was just strange. Obviously, only 1 sack for Alex Anzalone, and there was also an interception by Kirby Joseph and Trevin Nowaski. I never once doubted you, Detroit. You are still the best team in the NFC right now. Keep this up, because this NFC North is tough as nails. And the final game of the 1 o'clock slate for Sunday was the Falcons outlasting the Tampa Bay Bucks once again, 31-26. Twice in 1 month? Yep, Tampa Bay, you got a big problem in your hands. But I will say, the way we played, if Tampa Bay had Godwin and Mike Evans back, we would have lost this game. Kirk Cousins once again had a stellar game against Tampa Bay. 276 yards, 23 of 29 for 4 touchdowns. Damn. Bijan kind of regressed on this game. 63 rushing yards. Like, the rushing game pretty much got shut down almost the entire game. And this was another breakout game by Kyle Pitts, who had 4 catches, 91 yards, and 2 touchdowns, with the other 2 touchdowns going to Bijan Mustard and Darnell Mooney. Oh yeah, and Drake London fantasy owners are furious with 4 catches and 34 yards. No sacks in this game for our defense, but we did get 2 interceptions from Jesse Bates and AJ Terrell, so that's really nice. And as for the Bucks, they tried their best to play catch up, but they just could not stop us for anything. Baker Mayfield had himself a Brett Favre kind of game, 37 of 50, threw 50 times, 330 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 picks on the day. Rushing game for the Bucks was also abysmal. Dang, 44 rushing yards for Bucky Irvin, 29 for Rashad White. Wow. K. Dotton, of course, led the receiving corps with 9 catches, 81 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Woo! And Rashad White had a receiving touchdown. Defense for the Bucks only had 2 sacks in this game. C.J. Brewer had both of them, and the run defense was solid, just the pass defense, not there. Still unbeaten in NFC South play, and at top of our division, it's never felt sweeter. And the Tampa Bay Bucks continue to suffer with both of their best weapons out for a considerable amount of time, from a couple weeks to an entire season. Kicking off the Sunday 4 o'clock slate, we had the Chargers absolutely getting down against the Saints, blowing them out 26-8. Saints couldn't score a touchdown even with the safety. It's safe to say that the Saints, after being 2-0, all that trash talk, all those egos, it really came back to haunt them. So yeah, New Orleans, Spencer Rattler's not very good. I gotta be honest with you. Taysom Hill even threw a pass. What the hell? Spencer Rattler, 12 of 24 for 156. Both of those 2 quarterbacks, Hader and Rattler, combined for 21 of 41 for under 300 yards. And of course, no touchdowns or picks. Even Alvin Kamara couldn't even get a touchdown in this game. 67 yards. Even with that, it was just, they just couldn't score. I mean, Chris Olave led the receiving corps with 8 catches, 107 yards. Juwan Johnson's back. Alvin Kamara had 6 catches for 55. They just couldn't find any answers. Sure, they got a safety in this game. They got to force a turnover, but they did get 3 sacks in this game. But nobody really cares because the final score is really all that matters. Justin Herbert had himself a very solid game with 280 yards, 20 of 32, and 2 touchdowns. J.K. Dobbins finally get himself another touchdown. I needed that from him. And also the player who made the biggest impact was Ladd McConkey. No surprise here. 6 catches, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The only 2 of the game through the air. And also the defense got 5 sacks in this game, including 1 from Khalil Mack, Bud Dupree, Tui Pelotu even had 1. Man, this was just a great game all around for LA. It's a great day for LA fans. Chargers won, and even the Dodgers are even 3-0 in the World Series. So, LA, I know you're happy. But Chargers, very impressive win. Like, you could make a strong case for second place in the AFC West. But Kansas City is definitely taking first place in that division. Up next, we have the Buffalo Bills shutting down the Seattle Seahawks 31-10. Wow. Yeah, safe to say Seattle just could not do anything against Buffalo's offense or defense. Josh Allen had a very solid game again. He had 24-34, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. And James Cook even had 111 yards and 2 touchdowns this game. Crazy stuff. No surprise, the leading receiver was Khalil Shakir with 9 catches, 107 yards, and the 2 touchdowns went to Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid. Finally, he's gotten involved, Kincaid was. Only 1 second interception in this game. Javon Solomon got the sack, and Austin Johnson got the interception. That's a little strange, but okay then. As for Seattle, yeah, very, very shaky game, especially for Geno. 21 of 29, 212 yards and a pick. Rushing game was just absolutely worthless, except for the Charbonnet touchdown. I mean, the leading receiver was Jackson Smith-Njigba. I don't think Metcalf even played in this game, and it really showed that Seattle just did not have an offense without him. Josh Jobe did get an interception, but that was pretty much it, besides Ernest Jones having a very solid game tackling because they couldn't stop the run for anything. They ran into the Buffalo Bills' brick wall offensive line. Not much else to say except Buffalo, you're still here, and I could see why. Up next, we had the unbelievable ending of the week. We had the Bears losing to a Hail Mary touchdown to the Commanders, 18-15. I mean, Bears scored a touchdown with 23 seconds left, and then Washington comes out of nowhere. Jayden Daniels throws a deep pass, tipped and caught for a Hail Mary touchdown. First time I've seen that in quite a while. Obviously, Caleb Williams did not have the game everybody expected. I mean, 10 of 24 for 131 yards through the air. DeAndre Swift had 129 yards, 7 yards a carry, and a touchdown on the ground. Not much going for the receiving except for Rome Odunze leading the group with 3 catches and 41 yards. 2 sacks on the game from the Bears defense from TJ Edwards and Montez Sweat, but it didn't matter because they lost the game. They broke when it mattered most. This guy, Jayden Daniels, had a rib injury last week, and it was just nothing to him. 21-38, 326 yards through the air and a score, and he had 52 rushing yards as well. Brian Robinson had himself a solid game with 65 yards, 4 yards to carry on the ground. And no surprise, Terry McLaurin led the team in receiving with 5 catches and 125 yards. And of course, the only touchdown in the game was the Hail Mary touchdown to Noah Brown. No interceptions at all, but Washington's defense also had 2 sacks from Jalen Holmes and Deron Payne. I don't care if it wasn't high scoring, this was a very good game, and Washington came out with the win, and they are still the 2 seed in the NFC. Great job, commies. You guys are actually for real. Up next, we got the Chiefs scathing by the Raiders 27-20. Raiders really played their hearts out just to lose, and Kansas City continues to make every NFL fan's lives miserable. 13 straight wins, regular and postseason. Good Lord, we are cooked. Of course, you have Patrick Mahomes throwing his weekly interception, but he did have one of his best games of the year, 260 yards, 2 touchdowns, 27-38 on the day, with Kareem Hunt on a rushing touchdown despite 2.8 yards a carry. And can we please welcome back Travis Kelce, Mr. Swift himself, 10 catches, 90 yards, and a score, with the other touchdown going to Xavier Worthy. And there were also 4 sacks from this Kansas City defense. And yeah, this was just a very good game offensively, and the defense had to show up when it needed to. The only thing that could really keep this offense going was the passing game. Gardner Minshew had a pretty solid game throwing the ball, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, 24-30, and the rushing game was just non-existent, like it did not exist at all. I don't think anybody's surprised that Brock Bowers is leading the team in receiving, 5 catches for 58 yards, with 2 of the touchdowns going to Jacoby Myers and DJ Turner. I have Myers on the bench, and man, do I kind of regret it. There was a sack by Tyree Wilson and an interception by Trayvon Moehrig, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough. This game was just hard to watch, for any NFL fan, not because the Chiefs won, but the ugly win once again by Kansas City. Up next, we got the Panthers losing to the Broncos 28-14, and this is actually the final game of the Sunday 4 o'clock slate. Breakout game indeed for Bo Nix. I mean, everybody has a breakout game against Carolina. No offense, of course. I will say, Bryce Young actually had a solid start to the game, but then, of course, Yep, it declined very fast. 224 yards, 24-37 for 2 touchdowns and 2 picks in this game. Rushing game couldn't help him. And Jalen Coker, after the trade by Carolina to Baltimore for Deontay Johnson, Jalen Coker led the team receiving with 4 catches, 78 yards in one of the scores. Xavier Leggett had 4 catches, 34 yards, and the other touchdown. And of course, only thing really good on defense was A'Shawn Robinson getting 2 sacks. If Bo Nix somehow performs like this every week, yeah, the league might be in trouble. 28 of 37, 284 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Jeez. Rushing game died down a bit. Javonte Williams and Julian McLaughlin combined for 91 yards on 25 carries. Not great. Oh yeah, Bo Nix had a rushing touchdown to add to that. Cortland Sutton finally came back from the dead with 8 catches, 100 yards, and the 3 touchdowns went to Nate Atkins, Jaleel McLaughlin, and Adam Trotman. Some names I do not believe got a touchdown, but they did. 2 sacks and 2 picks on the game. We had Jaquan McMillan get himself an interception, and we also had Pat Surtain get the other one. Man, Pat Surtain is elite. If you told me that Denver was going to be 5-3 at the beginning of the season through the first 8 games, I would have called you nuts. But here we are. Denver's 5-3, tied with us for record-wise. Heading to the Sunday Night Football matchup, we had the Niners outlast the Cowboys 30-24 in a very close game somehow. Despite the score being close, Dak Prescott did not perform. Yeah, man, he had 250 yards, 25-38 for 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. Not a great start. And with Zeke getting the only touchdown really on positive for the rushing offense. But my God, CeeDee Lamb is a dog. 13 catches, 146 yards, and 2 scores on the game. Crazy stuff from CeeDee Lamb. He's elite! And the only positive for the Cowboys defense was the sack by DeMarvion Overshown. As for San Francisco, Brock Purdy threw a touchdown, 18-26 and 260 yards with 2 touchdowns on the ground by Purdy and Garendo. Crazy name. Deebo Samuel had a solid 4 catches for 71 yards. Pearsall had 4 catches, and George Kittle led the team in receiving with 6 catches, 128 yards, and the only score through the air. And there was also 2 sacks and 2 picks in this game by Diamondre Lenore and Jair Brown. I'm calling him Charles Lenore. I don't care what his first name really is. I'm calling him Charles Lenore because that was what he used to go by. But yeah, solid game from San Francisco all the way around. Dallas tried their best to come back, but by then it was just too late. And finally, we got the Monday Night Football matchup between the Giants and the Steelers, with Pittsburgh coming out on top 26-18. This game was close. Denny Derps had 260 yards and a pick, 24-38. He can throw a single touchdown, but thank God for Tyrone Tracy getting it done on the ground. 145 yards, 7 yards a carry, and a score. It was surprisingly Darius Slayton who led the team in receiving with 4 catches, 100 yards, but Malik Neighbors had himself 7 catches for 71 yards. And let me tell you, Jones was trying to force the ball to Malik Neighbors for pretty much the entire game, but there were some throws that were just overthrown, underthrown, that he couldn't corral. It was just all over the place. 2 sacks in this game. Oh no, sorry. 4 sacks in this game. Zizo Shulari had 2 of them. Brian Burns had 1. Surprisingly, none from Dexter Lawrence, which is quite shocking, but, Giants defense tried the best they could. Offense struggles continues to hold this team back. Mr. Unlimited Russell Wilson had 280 yards, 20-28, and a touchdown pass. Najee Harris got it done on the ground with 114 yards and 6 yards to carry. Of course, George Pickens led the team in the receiving category with 4 catches, 74 yards. Van Jefferson had 4 catches for 62, and Calvin Austin had a receiving touchdown and a punt return for a touchdown in this game. Great job from him. 4 sacks in this game for Pittsburgh. Highsmith is back, and he got 2 sacks along with TJ Watt getting 2. And the game-ending interception by Beanie Bishop sealed the deal for the Pittsburgh Steelers to go 6-2. This is the 3rd pick in 2 weeks for Bishop. Man, I guess he's him. So you're telling me Mike Tomlin's 500 record is going to continue? Yeah, it definitely sure does look like it. And that is going to do it for this episode of Grizzly Talks Football. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure you smash that like button. Also, hit the red subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video I post. Anyways, until next time, I will see you guys later. Peace!